Wife cheated with my brother and ruined my life Part 1. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. I moved to Lake Tahoe in the spring of 2013 and met a Bulgarian girl that was on a work visa that I fell madly in love with almost instantly that summer. I'm a pretty chill guy, but when it comes to girls, whether or not I'm attracted to them, I become instantly nervous and completely lose my cool. However, when I first laid eyes on this girl that I will call Lily, I knew I needed to get her attention no matter what. The first couple of weeks were awkward, trying to slip her my number and just waiting around for her to call me. I almost completely given up on her and was actually on a date with a Japanese girl when she sent me a text asking if I wanted to hang out. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I pretty much ditched the Asian chick and drove straight to Lily's apartment to pick her up. One thing led to another and we became, as some would call it, cool for the summer because we knew she would be going back to Bulgaria after the summer was over. We were like best friends that pretty agreed and liked everything the other did. We would go out to the bars and people would ask if we were dating, and would kinda blankly stare at each other and just shrug because we really didn't know either. We would talk about it, but we didn't think the label would make the short time we had together any easier. Fast forward to a few months later and my mom, who lives in Idaho, told me how depressed she was feeling. I told Lily that I wanted to drive right after work to go see her on my weekend and be back in time for my next shift. She wanted to come with me and I thought, hell yes, a road trip with this amazing girl is something that I will remember forever. Long story short, we get there and my mom and her are hitting it off nicely. Now it's time to leave. As we are getting to hop in the Jeep, my mom comes out, grabs my arm and says to me, "You need to marry this girl." I was shocked that my mom would say that because she has never really supported any of my past relationships, and now she is telling me to tie the knot with a girl she only met that weekend. On the 8-hour drive back, we first let what my mom said sink in. We played around with the idea, and before long we were so excited to get married we almost detoured to Vegas and got married that day. But we thought better of it because she wanted to go back to Europe to finish school, and we found out through other people that for some reason it takes longer to get someone a visa if they are already married as opposed to being engaged. Fast forward again to October and she is back in Bulgaria, and I moved back to Idaho, and we are doing everything we can to get her back. With all the thousands of dollars we raised, legal documents we filled out, and court hearings, it took little over a year to get her back. The whole time we were falling asleep with each other over Skype and we just couldn't wait. Well, finally we got her down and I drove all the way to San Fran to pick her up because Boise doesn't have an international airport, and with the layovers she would have spent the night at the airport. I am summing up the backstory so the readers really get how betrayed I was. November 9, 2014 we married. I'm not exaggerating when I say that when I was looking into her eyes it was the most magical moment of my life. I was not expecting that at all because the wedding was so small and low-key. It was just my mom, my little brother and his girlfriend. Months later she and I were going through depression. I don't know why, it just seemed like we were sick all the time and she just started becoming nasty to me. It used to be that I could do no wrong in her eyes and everything I said made her laugh. Now anything I said or did just annoyed her. But I was so in love with her I just let her step all over me. She never did anything for herself. No cooking. I didn't drive. I would even fetch things for her because she was too lazy to get out of bed. More time went on, I started noticing a trend. I would share everything with her and she would literally write her name on things that she wanted exclusively to herself. Food, shampoo, laundry basket, etc. One day I just asked her, not thinking much of it, mostly as a joke, "How come I share everything with you and you never want to share anything with me?" She told me I only did that to throw it in her face. Guys, I have never raised my voice at her before, but what she said pissed me off so bad I got up and kinda shoved her, thinking about all the things I do for her on the daily without even asking for a thank you. She looked at me and just said nice. Before I left work I apologized for putting my hands on her. I said it was very wrong of me, however fuck you Lily if that's what you really think. And from that day to the day I found out she was cheating on me, I always had a small amount of resentment for her in the back of my heart that just turned my heart toxic after a while. Now for the nitty-gritty part of the story I'm sure you are more interested in. My older brother, who is this self-proclaimed Christian who at the time was very family-oriented, and that would constantly guilt-trip me and my little brother for not doing the things with the family that he felt we should be doing. This guy is Mr. Holy, yet the dude is clearly a sex addict. When I was a little kid he would always shove porn magazines in my face, and when I got my first smartphone he couldn't wait to tell what the best porn sites were. First clue, he has mistreating me my entire life. Physical and psychological torture was his method. The older he got, the more that went away, but his gigantic ego remained the same, if not grown bigger. So sometimes in the comfort of my own home I would have negative things to say about him. Lily always seems to be the one to jump to his defense anytime I say those things. Second clue. Every family gathering, like for the holidays, birthday, or the anniversaries of my father's death, it was always about sex with him, sex jokes, sex memes, and old movies that talk about sex. All the music he listens to. Sex, sex, sex. For Christmas one year he gave my wife a copy of the book 50 Shades of Grey. Third clue. As I mentioned before, Lily is from Eastern Europe and her customs were just weird. She kisses guys on the lips in front of me, so I figured, hey, I think it's weird, but clearly she comes from a culture that's very touchy-feely, whatever. Well, I couldn't help but notice later on she was very touchy-feely with my older brother, to the point my mom came to me in tears and told me she feared that my brother and her were messing around. My little brother's girlfriend even came up to me with anger in her eyes, saying she thinks that she kissed my older brother at my mom's house. I pretty much got pissed at my mom and my little brother's girlfriend for even suggesting something like that would be going on. I'm like, first of all, I want you guys talking about my fucking wife like this, and second, Ryan is my brother, he would tell me if she was trying to do anything. I mean, after all, he is a self-righteous Christian that cares about the family. Seemingly too much sometimes. I almost brought up to Lily everything that people were telling me, but I thought better of it because I didn't want to hurt her feelings about how my family was feeling about her. But I started picking up on subtle signs. We were getting along fine, never fought, but the sex just became a trickle. And when I would get in bed, if I even grazed her, she would retract and recoil, obviously, so she wouldn't touch me. So I started getting suspicious then. The day I found out that she are in a great mood with each other actually, which I think made her let down her guard. We were watching A Good Mythical Morning on YouTube and she was putting a product in her hair that made her pause the video to go wash it out, and she said she'd be right back. Well, finally. She left her phone unattended. I'm thinking to myself, I can finally put my mind at rest to see that nothing bad is going on. I could allow flirting because we're all human, but what I saw was so shocking and perplexing that I couldn't believe what I was reading. This is my first Reddit post, so I'll try to have the text linked somehow. At one point while reading I became so mad I couldn't see straight and reading almost became impossible. I calmly walked in the bathroom and asked her what her relationship with Ryan was, and I could see the silhouette of her head through the shower curtain lower down in shame. It was at that moment my life became a literal nightmare. I was so numb after the initial shock I didn't say anything to her, but wow. Drove out into the middle of the desert, sat and stared at the mountains till the sun went down. I would say I feel asleep out there, but sleep is a huge overstatement. I slept on the floor for weeks after. In hindsight I should have made that bitch sleep on the floor, but it goes to show you how much of a soft spot I had for Lily, and unfortunately still do, though I do not love her anymore. There are more to come. Find out the update of this story, check our channel or the description. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.